Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome dear learners. This is a video for the subject of education, for the course of Bachelor's in Education and for the paper of Conceptual Foundations of Education. Here in this lecture we will be discussing an introduction to education and related concepts, and here the focus will be on formal, informal and non-formal education. This video lecture has been recorded by Dr. Iram Khan. The course coordinator and the presenter of this video is Dr. Iram Khan, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. The academic expert or the reviewer of this video is Professor Jasim Ahmed from Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. This video is produced under the project DTH Swayam Prabha channels of MHRD, or at present called as Ministry of Education, Government of India. Hello dear students, I am Dr. Iram Khan, Assistant Professor at Institute of Advanced Studies in Education, Faculty of Education, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. Today we are going to have a discussion on the introduction to education and related concepts, and in this lecture we will be discussing the formal, informal and non-formal types of education. So let us start the discussion. The objectives of this discussion are to delineate the different types of education systems, to discuss the characteristic features of formal, informal and non-formal education, and to elaborate the pros and cons of formal, informal and non-formal education. So in the previous lectures, we have seen the philosophy of education and how education and educational philosophy are very much in relation to each other. What exactly we mean by education is also something which we have already seen, but education can mean different things to different people around the world, and this is something which is established up till now. So some people see that education systems uh, are some sort of classroom training, while others might have an opinion that education can be a life-changing experience. So we can see that there are different opinions regarding education in different set of people. As per experts, education refers to a gradual process that brings about positive changes in human life and behavior, and thereby developing their personalities. The education system refers to the entire process that a student has to undergo in order to acquire knowledge, in order to gain knowledge. So this is implemented by way of instructions or some other practical procedures. So there can be different set of procedures. Education is the basic right of every individual all around the world, because this is a trait that encourages every individual to distinguish between right and wrong, what is correct and what is incorrect, and it basically helps every individual to achieve their goals of their lives. Once we go ahead and move a little further towards the types of education, we can see that education goes beyond what takes place within the four walls of the classroom. So we can't say that only whatever is happening inside the classroom is education. So a child gets the education from various type of experiences which he or she might be having outside the school, as well as from those within the society, or maybe who are surrounding this child. So on the basis of all these factors, which actually decide that what will be the way out in which this child is going to acquire knowledge, we can say that education can be classified into three main types. What are these? The first one is formal education, then we have informal education and non-formal education. And we are going to have a detailed overview that what exactly these three types are. To begin with, the first type, which is the formal education or formal learning. It usually takes place in the premises of a school or any of the institutions where a person may learn basic, academic, or any sort of skills. When we talk about small children, they often attend a nursery or kindergarten school, but in our country, in our India, we have seen that like formal schooling normally starts with the elementary school and it continues with secondary and senior secondary education, and then we go to any of the colleges or universities which actually grant us an academic degree. So this is something like when we pursue a higher education, we normally go to colleges or universities. So it is associated with a specific stage and is provided under a certain set of rules and regulations. So the formal education is given by specially or you can say the specifically qualified teachers, and these teachers are supposed to be efficient in the art of instruction, and they normally have got some sort of formal teacher training. It also observes strict set of discipline. The students and the teacher both are aware of the facts and engage themselves in the process of education, and we can find that everything is actually very properly designed. So there are set of rules, there are set of regulations which are followed by every individual who is inside the school premises or the college premises. So if we go ahead and look towards some of the examples of formal education, whatever is happening inside a classroom or in any of the schools where we are getting some sort of grades or certification, or we are pursuing education which is going to provide us some set of grades or certifications. Then the colleges and universities which provide us degrees or diplomas. Then any set of planned education uh, where we get some sort of education of different subjects which are having some proper syllabus which is acquired by attending to any of those institutions which provide those particular set of education or the course which is offered by this institution. So these institutions actually have a concrete or a proper syllabus. They transact education, and then at the end of the course they provide some set of degree, diploma, or certification. So this is basically the formal education or formal learning. So let us see the point-wise characteristic features of formal education. Now we have seen that what exactly is formal education all about. So the first point, which is very much important to mention, is that formal education is structured hierarchically. And we have seen that the first uh, point where the child enters to a school, at times it happens to be a nursery or a kindergarten school, but in most of the cases, we see that elementary education is the initial point where the child enters to a formal school, and then to secondary stage, and then to senior secondary, and gradually to the higher education, and then there is some sort of degree or diploma which is gained by the student, and the student graduates, and then we can go ahead and see that up to PhD level or even postdoctoral level we can find this formal education to be existing. So we can say that it is very much hierarchical in nature. The second point is that it is planned and deliberate. So everything is very well thought, and it is planned in a way that it is going to transact the set of things which are already thought of. Then the next point is the scheduled fee or some sort of amount which is to be paid regularly. Now the point is that in case of government schools or institutions, this fee is very nominal. But in case of private institutions, we can find that there is a hefty fee at hefty fee which is to be paid by the students. Then it has got a set of chronology which is followed by the grading system. So every time whenever this class ends, we find that this child is now promoted to another class, and that's why we can say that it follows a chronological order. Then the formal schooling or formal education system has got a syllabus, and it is very much subject oriented. And this syllabus, which is designated for a particular class or standard, has to be covered within a specific time period of this class or the standard. And then there are trained teachers who are teaching to the students in those formal setups. Why? Because the skills which are required to be imparted to the students are very peculiar. So the teachers are also very much specialized. So there will be specialized teachers who are going to impart the education in the formal education system. So after the characteristic features, let us just have a look on the advantages of formal education. Formal education is normally imparted by various organizations which follow the educational model, which is very much organized in nature, and they also follow an up-to-date course content. So this is something which is very much organized. So this is the first point which can be considered as an advantage. Then students acquire knowledge from trained and professional teachers who have got some sort of professional training, and they are specifically trained into the skill of teaching. So this can be considered at the as the next advantage. Then formal education system is structured and systematic learning processes are followed here in this formal education system. Then there are assessments, periodic assessments which take place in formal education systems, which make the students very much ready to advance in their studies and to promote them to the next learning phase. So this is something which actually makes them enabled, and even the teachers let the things know that what exactly is the status of a child, whether this child is to be sent to the next phase or not. So this is something which is very important, the assessment feature. Then institutions are having a physical structure, or you can say the management is there. So they have got a very kind of organized physical and managerial feature. Then this formal education system, it leads towards getting a recognized certificate or degree or diploma, which is very important for getting a job or for getting employed. So this is something which ensures that uh, this person can be found eligible for pursuing any sort of endeavor, or for applying to a job, or for employment. So these are few of those advantages. So after the advantages, let us just have a look on few of those disadvantages which are also to be considered important for formal education. In case of few of those exceptional children or brilliant students, at times they get bored, because formal education system follows a chronological order, and there is a set time period which is to be followed for one class, and from passing on to one class to the other. So at times these brilliant students uh, get bored due to this long wait period of the completion of one academic session to be promoted to the next stage. But I can say that this is an exceptional case. Because formal education happens inside the premises of a school or an institution or or any of those colleges or higher education institutions. So there is a probability that the company of the students can be good or bad. So it depends on that what sort of company this child or the student is in, uh, which is going to be very much decisive of acquiring those good habits or bad habits. So both can happen. Then the next point, which can be seen here as a disadvantage, is that in case of the students who are in the company of other students who are not that prompt for the studies, or they are not very much enthusiastic towards what training is being given to them, then there is a possibility that other students also getting this influence can be prompted towards wasting their time. So this is again something related to the company of the students. Then at times, some unprofessional and non-standard education system may cause the wastage of time and money of the students, which leads to the disappointment from the formal education system uh, by the parents or by the guardians, and in that case they move towards the non-formal education. And we have seen in the Western countries the homeschooling pattern. There was a time when homeschooling was very much popular. But in our country, this is less evident. But this is also some of those points which are considered as the disadvantages. Then at times the fee is also one of the uh, important disadvantage. In case of private institutions, we find that there is a hefty fee which is to be paid by the parents or by the ward of the students. So it can be considered as costly and rigid in comparison to the other forms of learning. So these were few of those disadvantages of the formal education, but we can say that uh, these disadvantages are not to be seen very peculiarly, because the advantages are many, and we find that formal education gives a proper structure to our system, and it provides strength to the national development also. So this was all about the formal education system. Let us move towards informal education. What exactly this informal education is all about? This informal education can be considered as the parent teaching which the child gets, and how to uh, how to actually go ahead and lead the life. Most of the times this is taught by the parents or the guardians, or the child actually acquires all these skills at home, like how to clean your place where you are studying, or if you are hungry, how to go ahead and get your meal done, or uh, suppose you are willing to ride a bicycle, how it is done. So these type of skills and these type of small teachings are basically done at home, in the close vicinity of the people who are the family members, or from the uh, extended family members, peer group, and so on and so forth. So people can also get an informal education by reading many books from a library or from educational websites, and it is very common nowadays that a lot of people study from those social media platforms. They get themselves educated, and they learn a lot of skills even from the social media platforms. So informal education is basically when we are actually not studying in a school, and we are not actually using any particular learning method. In this type of education, conscious efforts are not involved. It is neither pre-planned nor deliberate. It may be learned at home, or maybe a marketplace, or in any of those situations where we are going to learn something. So those situations can be at home, at playground, at marketplace, or anywhere. So unlike formal education, this informal education is not imparted by any institution, any school or college. Informal education is not given according to any fixed timetable, and there is no set curriculum required. So there is no any syllabus which is to be covered in that particular time frame. So informal education consists of the experiences and the actual life process, uh, which is basically led by a person in the close vicinity or close coherence of the family or the community. If we go ahead in search of few of those examples of informal education, the first one which we find is, suppose the child is learning language. What exactly will be the first point of learning a language? That will be the mother's own language, which we normally call as the mother tongue. So whatever is being spoken in the family, that becomes the mother tongue of this child, and which is something which is being taught uh, in a very informal way in the family or in the home. Then the this child, like all these children basically go ahead and count things. So there are few of those numeric or counting things which are again taught in the close um, company of those family members. So the child basically goes ahead and count things, count the articles, even the currency. So this is again some sort of informal education. Uh, then all those spontaneous type of learnings. So suppose a person is standing in a bank, and this person is observing the banker or the accountant, or the person who is sitting and counting the currency notes, or doing a lot of paperwork. The person who is standing and just observing is also going to learn a lot of things, how to count the currency notes in a very proper way, or maybe all those skills which this person who is sitting and performing the job is doing. So we observe people and we learn a lot of things without any formal instruction or anything. That is also something which can be bracketed towards this informal education. What are those features or the important characters of informal education? The first one is that there is no any boundary wall. It is very much independent, and there's no any definite syllabus. Nothing is planned, so no pre-planned activity is there, and there is no any timetable. Nothing is charged, so there is no any fee, and we can get this informal education even from our daily life experiences, and we can learn a lot of things while observing people, while doing our all those daily life chores. Then uh, the lifelong process of getting to know different things can also be considered as the informal education. So basically it's a lifelong process which starts with the birth of a child and it goes till the death. Then there is no any certification or no degree diploma is awarded, because there is no anything which is formal. So there is no any case of awarding or degree or diploma, and that's why there is no any stress for learning of new things. We actually learn new things by getting all those life experiences, and then there is no any specific source of getting this type of education. It can be imparted by anybody, any person, the family members, the friends, or any life experience. Even we learn from those who we don't know. So all those life experiences are our teachers, are our informal teachers. Let us see a few of those advantages of the informal education, which are important to mention. So the first one is that it is very much natural. So it's a natural learning process, and we can learn at anywhere, at any place, by observation, or by actually just leading our daily life. So all these daily life experiences teach us a lot. Then it involves different activities like the individual and the personal research on a topic of interest for ourselves, or if we are going to a library and we are checking few of those books, um, or we are sitting on our laptops and just checking few of those social media sites over the internet, or we are uh, just writing something, scribbling something in our diary, or uh, just having a look to the newspaper. Every single sort of source is providing us some education, some new knowledge, and that is basically informal education. And it can utilize a variety of technique. This is the beauty of informal education, that there is no any set method, lecture or demonstration, nothing. It can utilize any form of acquisition of knowledge. There is no any specific time span which is there to complete a process, and there is no any sort of costly, or you can say that a lot of money is not required to get to these sources, or to the informal set of education sources. There is no any need of hiring experts or specialized teachers or professionals in terms of providing um, uh, their services to us. We can even sit over the machine or laptop, in this case, where there is some internet service available, and we can even sit on those social media sites and learn a lot of things through those. So that is again a learning experience which we are getting, and this is something which can be considered as the important advantage of informal education. And anything, any book, or even a TV program, or a radio conversation, every single thing, a radio program, or if we chit chat with our family members, our friends, that is also something which is imparting us some sort of education, and this is considered as the informal education. So after the advantages, let us just have a look towards the disadvantages of informal education. So we all have seen that informal education is acquired from all those informal sources like the internet, social media, television, radio, or maybe the conversations with our family members and friends. So at times, this particular information which is acquired by all these sources can be leading us towards disinformation. Then utilization of techniques which are actually is the part of this informal education may not be appropriate because it is not planned or it is not a purposeful act. So there is a possibility of all these things not being very much appropriate. Like in case of internet, maybe whatever site we are visiting for getting to know something might be not having the right information. Then there is no any proper schedule or time span. So uh, there is a possibility of wastage of time uh, with the with not following any timetable or a kind of schedule. There is a possibility that we lead towards wasting our time. Then lack of confidence in the learner, because we are not following any set of rule and regulations. So there is a probability that the acquisition of knowledge which is happening in this learner is not going to lead towards the confidence level which we acquire when we achieve the formal education. And then there is absence of discipline, the correct set of attitude and good habits at times. So these are all the features which can be considered as the disadvantages of informal education. So this was all about the informal education. So the next type is non-formal education. What exactly it means? Basically, non-formal education includes the adult or the basic education, whatever adult literacy education or school equivalency preparations, or the distance education programs which we follow, they all come into the category of the non-formal education. So in the non-formal education, someone who is not in school or out of the school can learn or can become literate, or can acquire the basic skills or job skills. uh, Home education, individualized instruction, such as we can find in the program learning or the machine learning or the distance learning programs, computer assisted instruction, and other uh, possibilities are there for the non-formal education. So non-formal education is imparted consciously and deliberately and systematically implemented. So it has got some set of rules. It should be organized for a homogeneous group. Then non-formal education should be programmed to serve the needs of the identified group. This also necessitates the flexibility in the design of the curriculum and the scheme of evaluation. So basically, it is something which is in between the formal and the informal education. Few of the examples of the non-formal education can be the distance education programs or the massive open online courses which we are having on different platforms over the internet. Like we have we have got platforms called Swayam or Coursera, edX, or Udacity. So all these platforms offer various courses which are very much non-formal in nature, because they are non-certificate courses at times, and also there are courses which are non-credit courses. So these can be providing some set of skills which will be very much uh, towards providing some sort of learning to the people. Then in case of scouts and guides, there are a set of scouts and guides skills which are imparted to boys and girls. Then swimming courses, all these come under the non-formal education. A lot of different fitness programs or community-based adult education courses. So all these come under the category of non-formal education. So let us see few of those peculiar features of non-formal education. In case of non-formal education, we can see that it is very much planned. Like in case of a course which is offered over the internet, and it is a very much liberal course, a very kind of course which can be taken at any point of time, any part of the year. It's a non-credit course, then also some sort of planning is required. So non-formal education is planned and takes place apart from those institutions like school or colleges. So there is no any importance given to the building or the institution here. Then the timetable and syllabus can be adjustable. So it is there, the timetable and syllabus is there, but it can be adjusted according to the convenience of the learner. Then unlike the theoretical formal education, it is very much practical, and it is having a lot of features which can be taken up in the category of vocational education. Non-formal education has got no age limit, so even the adults can be beginners here in this non-formal education. Then there is a fee which is required to be paid for getting a certification. At times there are free courses, like we have talked about the MOOCs courses. In case of Swayam or different other platforms, we can find even the free courses. So there is a possibility of having a fee for a certification, or maybe not a fee for certification. Then it may be a full-time or part-time learning. One can earn and learn together. So while being employed, you can go ahead and enhance your learning. You can take up a course, like there are certain open universities from where you can take up any of those further studies. As well, you can in the meanwhile earn your living while being employed. So this is something which is little bit liberal. Then it involves learning of professional skills. So these were the characteristic features. Let us see a few of those advantages which make this non-formal education very much important. It is very much practiced in case of vocational training, because most of the times the people who are uh, getting this non-formal education, they are employed, or they are not the part of the formal system. So naturally growing minds that do not wait for the system to amend become the part of this non-formal education system at times. So literacy with skillfulness, or the skillful growth in which self-learning is appreciated, is very much the part of non-formal education. Then flexibility in age, in curriculum, and even in the time frame of the course is there. So it provides you a lot of freedom. Then open-ended educational system in which both the public and private sector are involved in the process. You can find these type of things a lot in the non-formal set of education. Then there is no any need to conduct regular exams, though there are exams, but there is no any compulsion of taking the exam at that particular time only. So you can actually make your own schedule. You can go for the exams when you are ready for the exams. Then diploma, certificates, and awards are not essential to be awarded, but in few of those open universities or distance education systems, we find that diplomas, certificates, degrees are awarded, and they are very much valid. So these were the advantages. Let us see the disadvantages of non-formal education. Here, attendance of participants is very unsteady, because it's not giving you any kind of compulsion of attending the course or the classes. So that's why at times it becomes very unsteady. Sometimes it's just a wastage of time, as there is no need to conduct the exam on regular basis, and no degree or diploma is awarded at the end of the training session. So what happens that people feel that whatever efforts they have made, because it is not giving them any degree or diploma, or nothing kind of certification is not done, so they feel that that is not very much useful for them. Then the basic reading and writing skills are crucial for learning. So if you are not having those basic skills, then you cannot go ahead and find any non-formal education suitable for you. So these basic skills should be there. Then only you can learn on your own or by the assistance of those non-formal education systems. Then no professional and trained teachers at times are there, but in those setups where everything is like properly managed, you can find that even there are trained teachers who are there for helping you. So this is something which can be managed. Then students may not enjoy full confidence as the regular students enjoy. This is something which is very much important. But now the scenario is getting changed. Now people, while being employed, are pursuing their degrees, their diplomas, and they are gaining confidence as well. So this is something which can be considered as the point which was raised in the olden days, but nowadays this is something which is discarded. Then some institutions provide fake certification through online courses just for the sake of earning. So this is something which is very important to be addressed. So we have to be very much careful while the selection of the online courses, that we go to a proper place over the internet, over the sea of all those online courses and resources which are provided to us, so that we find a proper place from where we can get a certification if we want to get the certification, which is not fake in nature, which is actually useful for us, even for our future endeavors. So these type of malpractices are also there, so we have to be very much careful while the selection of these non-formal education sources. So this was all about the non-formal education. This we have now reached to the end of this session, and let us just have a quick overview or a quick summary of what we have learned today. We have seen the three types of education systems. The first one is formal education, then we have seen the informal education system and the non-formal education system. In case of the formal education system, we have seen that schools or institutions are involved, colleges or universities, any sort of institution is involved, then it has got a hierarchy or a hierarchical structure. Then it is most of the times the formal system is full time, and they have got proper set of rules and regulations. They are very much subject oriented, and certification or awarding of a degree is done at the end of the course. Then we have seen the informal education, uh, which is uh, which can be seen in the adult learning programs, or maybe when we learn from any of those sources from our experiences. There are a diversity of methods and the content, uh, different local resources, the conversations which happen in between the family members, or any of those sources, TV, radio, any of those internet resources provide us some experience, and that can be considered as the informal education. And all those real life examples are the part of this informal education. And you can say that family, your mother or your parents are the first teachers or the first informal educators. Then comes the non-formal education system, and we can say that this is the something which is between formal education and informal education. Uh, Here, there are something which can be considered as the rule, or some abiding features. Uh, we can find all those learning experiences which are covered under non-formal education, at times a long process. Then we can even have this learning experience through the non-formal education, sitting at home, or while being on job. So distance education systems, just like these distance education programs or massive open online courses, uh, they are all are considered as the non-formal education systems. And then we also do this non-formal education while uh, being employed or being on job. So this is something which is very much important in case of non-formal education. Uh, then we have seen, in order to get acquainted with these three types of education systems, that what exactly are those advantages and the disadvantages of all the three systems. So I hope that now the difference between formal education, informal education, and non-formal education is clear to you all, and hopefully you are going to gain a lot other information, or a lot other knowledge from the next set of uh, lectures which are going to come, and we will see each other in the next lectures. These are few of those references and suggested further links which I used while preparing the session, and you can also go ahead and learn a lot from these different suggested links and references. Thank you so much from my side. See you in the next lecture. Students, you were watching a video on Introduction to Education and Related Concepts, and in this lecture we discussed about formal, informal and non-formal education. This video lecture was recorded by faculty at home during the national lockdown period for COVID-19 pandemic using minimal technical resources. Technical errors, if any, are unintentional and may please be ignored. For any queries with regard to this lecture or broadcast, kindly send your email to techsupport@dth.ac.in. Thank you so much.